everyone, how's it going? So it's that wonderful time of year again where students are making applications to postgraduate study. Now I know this because while I was working away on my laptop, I could hear one of the project supervisors who sits opposite me in the office having a Skype interview with a master's student for next year. In case any of you guys are curious, I'm currently studying my master's at King's College London, and it is a course in translational cancer medicine. So it was really weird for me to listen to the supervisor have this Skype talk, because I was just like, oh my god, like 12 months ago, or maybe a little longer than that, I was just like, that was me. That was me having that conversation with my current supervisors. And it kind of got me thinking that when I was making applications, it would have been really useful to have a video talking about how to apply and some of the things to consider before applying and all of that kind of stuff. So I guess fast forward to today, I thought I would make the video for you guys in case any of you are going through the same process. So I guess without further ado, let's just get into the video, and I really hope some of these tips help you out. So number one, and this is a really important thing to consider, is try and think really hard about why you're doing a master's. I think it's really important to have a good reason for pursuing postgraduate study because it is a lot of commitment, it can cost a lot, it also takes up your time. So try and avoid the attitude of, I don't know what else to do, so I'll just apply for a master's. That attitude can definitely come back and bite you in the butt if you halfway through decide that you really hate your course and you're just like, oh, well, I only ended up here because I didn't know what to do, and it's best to try and avoid that kind of situation right at the start. For me personally, I took a year off after my undergraduate just to kind of, not have to think about postgraduate study and anything like that, and give myself some mental space to try and decide what I want to do. And I'm not saying that you necessarily have to take a year off after undergraduate study, but maybe it's just something to consider. Tip number 2 is to consider 3 really important aspects before making any kind of application. So if you're already starting to think about postgraduate study and maybe you're going on different websites and looking at different courses, the 3 most important things to think about are, firstly, do you meet the requirements, as in do you have the correct degree or the correct grades? Are you aware of what the fees are? Are you able to self-fund it or find alternative ways of trying to get a scholarship or getting the course funded? And thirdly, have you thought well and hard about the location? This is especially important if you are an international student. You kind of have to think, do I really want to move to a different country? Or even if you are in the same country, do I really want to move to a different city or a particular city? I know these 3 things kind of seem a little bit obvious, but I just feel like I should let you guys know because they are very important things that you should think about. Okay, so assuming you've gone through the first 2 tips and you're already ready and eager to go, tip number 3 is look at the course structure. Now, when it comes to postgraduate courses, masters specifically, there are a whole range of different structures that the course can consist of, and I'm going to share with you the sciencey ones because I guess that's the area I'm more knowledgeable in, but I think it's the same in other subjects as well. So for example, in science there are 3 different types that you can do. The first is an MPhil, and this is usually the first year of a PhD, but there are universities that do offer 1-year MPhil courses. The second is an MRes, which is what I'm currently doing, and that is a Master of Research. And thirdly, MSci, and that is Master of Science. Now, all of these things do differ slightly, and the general trend is that MSci tends to be more taught and lecture-based, whereas MRes and MPhil tend to be a lot more practical. So in my case, for example, my course is 12 months of solid lab work working on 2 different project rotations. And I picked an MRes very specifically because there were other MSci courses that did 6 months of lectures and exams and then the other 6 months in the project. But because I specifically was looking for lots and lots of practical hands-on work, I decided to go for this MRes. Number 4 is, as well as researching the course, make sure you research the department. So for example, I think this is really important because if you research the department, then you'll get a better feel of the overview of what your course is going to be like. I think this is especially important in science because you can apply to a project, but the project title can often change because as research goes, different titles and different projects will always come and go. So for example, if you apply to a specific project, that project might change, but as long as you know what that department works on or researches on, then you have a better idea of what kind of stuff you'll end up doing. And I think this is also important for doing kind of postgraduate studies that give you an option to choose modules later on. So for example, if you did a master's in biomedical sciences, later on you will have the opportunity to specialize, so maybe in cancer or neuroscience or respiratory systems or something of the sort. So it's good to get an understanding of the department, because say if you do this biomedical MRes and you want to do like renal diseases and their departments don't offer anything to do with renal diseases, then that's something that you don't want to find out later on after you've already got in. Number 5, and I think this is so important, and it is to make contact as early as you can. So as well as making contact with the admissions team and asking questions about the application process, something that I personally think is quite important to do is to try and get in touch with the project supervisors directly. Not only is this a really good way for you to build a relationship with them early on, and sometimes they will even remember you, so when you actually do come to reply, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember receiving an email from this person showing interest. So not only is that a benefit because it shows that you're passionate and eager about wanting to study this course, but it's also a really good way to get very specific hands-on information right at the beginning. And it's a good opportunity for you guys to ask about their specific field or their research interests, or even very specific questions about their departments and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. A little word of warning though, don't be put off if you do not get a reply. I know personally when I was looking into courses, I sent out around maybe 15 to 16 emails and I only got replies from maybe a third of the people. It's nothing personal. Being in a master's now and working with all of these academics, you see just how crazy and hectic their life is. So if you don't get a reply, don't take it personally. But what I would recommend is whenever you email or make contact with any of these individuals, always include something in your email like, I understand that you're busy, or I understand that you have a busy schedule, but I would be very grateful to hear back from you. And I think that's always a nice thing to do because it lets them see that you understand that they are very busy people and that they do have a lot going on. Number 6 is trust your intuition or your gut feeling. I think it's very important to do as much research as you can, and not just in the course but other things. So for example, research the city, research the societies, research all of these extracurricular things that could be involved in your chosen institute. But at the end of all of that, I think it's important to really listen to your intuition and think what you think is best for you. Number 7, and this is kind of following on from the last point, is try not to get too many people's advice on where you should go. This is because I know that all of your friends and all of your family or the people you ask, they will all have their own preferences. So if you ask too many people for advice, then sometimes it can hinder you more than it can help you because it'll just confuse you more than anything. So I guess point 6 and 7 are kind of like together, but listen to your gut feeling. Number 8 is once you have decided on a handful of universities that you want to apply for, sit and write a killer personal statement. Now, I do plan to make an individual video all about how to write a personal statement because this is gonna sound weird. I really enjoyed writing mine. But in the meantime, try to do your research. Google is an amazing resource. So just have a look on there, look at example postgraduate personal statements, and look at how you should structure it and the kind of things to include and the kind of things not to include as well. So yes, I think this is really important because what you want at the end of the day when it comes to your personal statement is something that's professional, informative, but also authentic to you. And after all of that, you're ready to make your application. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, please do give it a thumbs up because it would help me out a lot. And if this video was useful to you and you would like to support me in any way, then I will have links somewhere to my Patreon, Etsy, Instagram, and all of that stuff. Overall though, I know what it's like because I went through the same process and I know it can be a little bit daunting, but I honestly do wish you all the best of luck. And